Welcome back today. We have a special episode focused on two extraordinary United States Roosevelt dimes that have caught the attention of numismatists and investors alike due to their rarity, unique condition, and auction market performance. We start with one of the most remarkable Roosevelt dimes of recent decades, the 1997 Roosevelt dime minted in Denver, bearing the D mint mark, but in an unusual and much discussed condition. The obverse presents a striking black coloration, while the reverse shows the typical circulated wear. This coin, despite or because of its unusual condition, commands significant attention among collectors. It's a prime example of how condition, variety, and unique characteristics can influence value beyond mint year and rarity. The Roosevelt dime series itself is a storied one. Introduced in 1946, just after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, it has been a staple of American coinage for over 7 decades. The dime was chosen to honor Roosevelt's legacy, especially for his work founding the March of Dimes. Campaign to combat polio. Its design, by John Arsenic, has become iconic, featuring Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The 1997 Roosevelt dime, however, doesn't stand out merely for its design or age, but for its peculiar black coloration on the obverse side. This coloration is not part of the standard mint finish, but is rather the result of environmental factors or chemical reactions over time, possibly toning or corrosion under specific conditions. Such color changes can either detract from or enhance the value depending on collector interest, rarity, and overall eye appeal. When it comes to the mintage, the 1997 Roosevelt dime was produced in extremely large quantities, with over 1.1 billion coins struck that year alone. Given this high mintage, finding any 1997 Roosevelt dime is easy, but finding one with this specific black obverse coloration combined with a circulated reverse is extremely rare, making it a standout among common dimes. Collectors who specialize in error coins, toned coins, or unusual condition coins find this specimen particularly fascinating. While it does not have a traditional mint error like doubling or a mint mark anomaly, the environmental-induced black coloration is intriguing and adds to the story of the coin's journey post-minting. Some collectors refer to these as blackened or oxidized coins, which can fetch premium prices when combined with the right provenance or display qualities. Because the reverse remains circulated, but the obverse shows the unusual black tone, this dime is often sought as a conversation piece and a unique addition to specialized collections. The contrast of the two sides showcases how coins can tell different stories of their own history of use and environmental exposure. In recent auction markets, these coins have demonstrated impressive value, far exceeding typical circulated Roosevelt dime prices, while a standard circulated 1997 dime might be worth only a few cents over face value. This black obverse specimen has sold in auctions for amounts ranging from $60,000 to upwards of $80,000 depending on the exact condition and provenance. This dramatic price increase is due to the coin's rarity, unique aesthetic appeal, and the intense interest from collectors chasing unusual toned or colored coins. Professional numismatists often emphasize the importance of eye appeal in determining value. Even if a coin has some damage or wear, if the toning or coloration is appealing and unusual, it can elevate the coin's desirability immensely. This black obverse 1997 Roosevelt dime is a perfect example. Its story and visual impact overcome what might otherwise be a modest value for a circulated dime. Moreover, the coin's rarity is underscored by the fact that few such specimens with the exact combination of black obverse and circulated reverse have surfaced in the market. This makes each auction appearance a highlight for collectors and dealers, driving competitive bidding that pushes prices into 5 figures. Another factor fueling demand is the coin's narrative appeal. It embodies the passage of time and the unexpected beauty that can emerge from natural chemical interactions with coin metals. Collectors who value both historical significance and Unique aesthetics see it as a prize, a collectible that tells a story no pristine, uncirculated dime could. To summarize, the 1997D Roosevelt Dime with a black obverse and circulated reverse condition represents a fascinating intersection of history, rarity, and collector interest. Despite its large mintage, the unusual black coloration sets it apart. As a unique specimen that commands six-figure bids at auction, a stark contrast to the typical dimes market. Turning now to our next coin of the day, we explore another intriguing Roosevelt dime, this time from the year 1982, also minted in Denver with the D Mint mark. Unlike the previous coin's black obverse, this dime has drawn significant attention due to its dirty color rusty condition, another non-standard appearance caused by post-mint environmental effects. This coin provides a compelling study in how condition variation influences numismatic value, especially when coupled with the Roosevelt dime's enduring popularity. The 1982 Roosevelt dime was struck in the midst of the early 1980s, a period of economic change and shifting minting practices. While not particularly rare by mintage over 1.6 billion were struck in Denver alone, the coin's appeal lies in how some specimens have developed unusual patinas or toning, such as this rusty, dirty color variant. These conditions typically arise when coins are exposed to moisture, chemical agents, or improper storage, causing oxidation that changes the silver or clad metal's appearance. In terms of design, the 1982 dime remains true to the original Roosevelt layout, with a profile of Roosevelt facing left on the obverse, featuring inscriptions such as "Liberty in God We Trust," the mint mark D, and the date. The reverse bears the classic torch and branches design. However, what differentiates this coin is its coloration, which collectors describe as rusty brown or darkened, a far cry from the bright silvery sheen typical of dimes. Collectors of error and toned coins consider this kind of condition fascinating because it represents the coin's life beyond the mint. The rusty color is not a mint error, but a form of post-mint alteration due to environmental exposure. Such coins can be divisive. Some collectors prefer pristine surfaces, while others prize the story and uniqueness imparted by natural toning or discoloration. Despite the coin's dirty, rusty appearance, its value in the auction market is surprisingly high. This is because very few specimens with this condition have surfaced, and among them, the 1982D Rusty Roosevelt dime has developed a niche following. At recent auctions, prices have ranged from $60,000 to $70,000, demonstrating that unique condition. Varieties can sometimes rival or exceed traditionally rare coins in market value. It's important to note that the overall grade or wear level plays a role too. The coin in question is circulated, so it carries the usual signs of use and wear. Yet the unique rusty toning gives it an eye-catching appearance that distinguishes it from the millions of other 1982 Roosevelt dimes in more standard conditions. Numismatic experts highlight how such unusual coloration can be both a blessing and a curse. While it increases interest for some, others may view the rust as damage that detracts from value. However, the rarity and collector interest in this particular coin type have made it a desirable specimen in specialized collections, particularly for those who focus on coins with unique toning or environmental effects. Beyond appearance, the 1982D dime is also of interest due to the transitional nature of its era. The early 1980s saw shifts in metal compositions and minting techniques. While Roosevelt dimes remain primarily copper-nickel clad, some coins from this era have exhibited unusual surface changes or minor minting variations, further enhancing collector interest. In conclusion, the 1982D Roosevelt dime in dirty, rusty condition is a compelling example of how condition and natural toning can transform an otherwise common coin into a sought-after collectible. Its market value, reaching upwards of $60,000 in auctions, confirms that uniqueness and story can elevate a dime's worth far beyond face value or standard circulated price. Next up, 1995 Roosevelt 1 dime, large date, with D Mint mark. in a striking golden color with rusty condition. This coin is not just a dime, it's a story of rarity, error, and collector obsession. Let's unravel its story. The Roosevelt Dime series began in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime, and has since become one of the most familiar coins in American circulation. This particular 1995 Mint Mark dime stands out primarily due to its unusual golden coloration and its large date variant. Normally, Roosevelt dimes from this era are struck in the standard copper nickel-clad composition, but this coin's unique appearance points to a post-mint error or environmental exposure that caused a stunning yet rusty golden patina feature that immediately sets it apart from standard dimes. In terms of minting, the 1995 Roosevelt dime with the D Mint mark was produced in large numbers at the Denver Mint, with mintage figures reaching approximately 1.3 billion coins. This alone would make it a common coin. However, the variant with the large date and the unexpected golden rusted coloration creates an extraordinary collector appeal. The large date means that the date numerals appear bolder or slightly larger than the usual small date found on most Roosevelt dimes that year. This subtle difference is critical for collectors seeking varieties and errors. The rusty golden color is most likely a result of environmental toning combined with oxidation. Although most collectors prize coins in pristine condition, certain patinas and natural color changes like this golden rust create a visually captivating coin with a distinct personality. Such coins often become conversation pieces and are highly sought after, particularly if the rust or toning does not obscure key details like the mint mark, date, or design elements. Design-wise, the coin features the classic profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side. Designed by John Arsenic, Roosevelt's profile has been iconic, symbolizing his legacy and the nation's respect for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. On the reverse side, the coin depicts a torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. What elevates this coin's value dramatically is the combination of the large date variant with the unique mint mark and the unusual golden rust coloration, which can be considered a form of mint or post-mint error. Mint errors, including double strikes, off-center strikes, and unusual toning, have long captivated collectors. When combined with a popular series like the Roosevelt Dime, the market value can skyrocket. In today's auction market, a 1995 Roosevelt dime with a large date and a mint mark in this golden rusty condition commands prices that can exceed $60,000. This value is driven by rarity, collector demand, and the coin's striking visual appeal. Many collectors are willing to pay a premium to acquire such an unusual specimen that stands apart from the millions of ordinary dimes minted in the same year. Collectors prize this coin for several reasons. First, it represents a popular and long-running coin series. Second, it is an example of how minor variations and environmental factors can turn an otherwise common coin into a rare collectible. Third, its eye-catching golden tone makes it ideal for display, attracting both traditional numismatists and those who appreciate coins as miniature works of art. This coin is often discussed in numismatic circles as a reminder that value in coin collecting is not solely about pristine condition or rarity in mintages, but can also stem from unique characteristics that tell a story. For investors, owning such a coin is both a potential financial asset and a piece of history, connecting the past with the present. To sum up, the 1995 Roosevelt one dime with a large date and a mint mark in golden rusty condition is a gem in the world of coin collecting. With over 1 billion coins minted that year, this particular variant's rarity lies in its unique appearance and error attributes, pushing its market value north of $60,000 in auctions today. If you ever come across one, consider yourself lucky, as these coins are prized possessions for serious collectors. Moving on, our next coin is just as intriguing: the 1977 Roosevelt one dime, large date, without mint mark, in a dirty green rusty condition. This dime carries a different set of characteristics that make it a remarkable find, prized heavily by collectors and investors alike. The 1977 Roosevelt Dime is part of a series minted primarily in Philadelphia. That year, the Philadelphia Mint did not place a mint mark on dimes, so any Roosevelt dime without a mint mark from 1977 is likely from Philadelphia. The 1977 large date variety, where the digits of the date are more pronounced and larger than the typical small date, is considered a key collectible variant within the series. Unlike the earlier coin we discussed, the 1977 dime's condition is described as dirty green rusty, indicating significant oxidation and environmental exposure. The greenish tint is a common sign of copper oxidation, especially since Roosevelt dimes have a copper core clad in a copper-nickel alloy. When exposed to moisture, air, and certain chemicals over time, these coins can develop a verdigris or greenish patina. This green rust is often viewed negatively by casual collectors, but highly prized by specialists who appreciate natural toning and unique environmental effects. Mintage figures for the 1977 Roosevelt dime without mint mark are substantial. Approximately 2.9 billion coins were produced. This again makes it a common coin. However, the large date variety combined with the green rusty patina and the absence of a mint mark transforms this otherwise common dime into a collector's treasure. The design remains the iconic profile of President Roosevelt on the obverse, and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. This design has been consistent since the series began in 1946, symbolizing liberty and strength. What drives the value of this coin is a combination of its rarity in the large date variety and its unusual green rusty coloration. Such natural toning is hard to replicate, making genuine examples highly sought after. Many collectors prize coins with unusual patinas because they add character and uniqueness. The green rusty condition tells a story of the coin's journey through time and environment, connecting collectors with history on a personal level. Errors in this coin are subtler compared to the first coin. The absence of the mint mark is normal for Philadelphia coins from that year, so it's not an error per se, but a feature that helps authenticate its origin. The large date, however, is a recognized variety that many collectors seek specifically. Market-wise, the 1977 large date Roosevelt dime without mint mark in dirty green rusty condition regularly sells for prices well over $60,000 at auction. The large date variety commands a premium due to its scarcity relative to the small date. Add to this the eye-catching verdigris patina, and the coin becomes a coveted piece. Collectors interested in this coin are usually those who specialize in Roosevelt dimes or error coins and varieties. It also appeals to those who appreciate natural toning and patina, which often enhances the coin's aesthetic and historical value. The green rusty condition is especially appealing for display in collections focused on environmental effects on coinage. The coin story is a testament to how a dime minted in the millions can still surprise collectors decades later. The combination of a large date variety with an unusual and naturally occurring color variation transforms this coin into a rare collectible that continues to fascinate numismatists. In conclusion, the 1977 Roosevelt dime, large date without mint mark, with its dirty green rusty coloration, stands as a prime example of how rarity, condition, and history intersect to create extraordinary value despite its high mintage. This coin's unique features push its auction value well beyond $60,000 today. For collectors and investors, it represents a compelling opportunity to own a piece of American numismatic history with a unique visual story. Next up, let's focus on the most expensive United States Roosevelt dime from 1970, the large date variety with the D-error mint mark, presented in what collectors describe as a chocolate color rusty condition. This coin is one of the rarest in the Roosevelt dime series, attracting significant attention due to its distinctive errors and the unusual coloration that adds to its mystique and desirability. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader closely associated with the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. The design by John Arsenic features the profile of Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, olive branch and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The 1970 Roosevelt dime belongs to the later years of the silverless-clad coinage period, a time when the U.S. Mint was still grappling with transition to new materials and varying production challenges. The 1970 Roosevelt dime large date with the mint mark error is extremely rare due to a minting anomaly that caused the Denver D mint mark to appear doubled, off-center, or misshapen in some specimens. This mint mark error is compounded by the large date feature, where the numerals of the date on the coin's face are distinctly larger than the standard issue, a result of die variations or replacements that were not widely distributed. Only a very limited number of these coins entered circulation before the error was corrected, making surviving examples a prized find. Adding to the coin's rarity and allure is the chocolate color rusty patina it developed over time. This unique coloration is not the typical silver or clad shine, but rather a deep brown rust tone caused by environmental exposure and oxidation. Although some collectors may shy away from rusty coins, in the case of this particular 1970 Roosevelt dime, the chocolate coloration actually increases its desirability by giving it a one-of-a-kind aesthetic and a story of survival through decades of circulation and aging. Mintage numbers for the 1970 Roosevelt dime at the Denver Mint are estimated to be around 1.2 billion in total, but the large date with mint mark error variant is believed to have occurred in less than a few thousand pieces. This drastic reduction in population combined with its collector appeal places this coin in the elite category of rare Roosevelt dimes. The design features of this coin remain classic: Roosevelt's stern profile, the intricate detail of his hair and suit lapel, and the torch on the reverse are still clearly visible despite the coin's rusty state. The large date numerals give it a distinctive look that helps collectors quickly identify the variant, while the mint mark error gives it a fascinating conversation piece. Collectors are highly interested in this coin for several reasons. First, error coins like this are always in demand because they represent a printing or minting mistake that defies normal production standards. Second, the rarity of this variant compared to other Roosevelt dimes makes it a valuable investment. Finally, the unusual chocolate color patina appeals to collectors who appreciate coins with character and evidence of a long history. When it comes to value, this coin has been known to fetch upwards of $60,000 at major auction houses, especially when verified by leading grading services like PCGS or NGC. Condition plays a crucial role, but even in circulated, rusty condition, the coin's rarity and distinctiveness give it a strong premium. Recent sales at auction have proven that serious collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for an authentic 1970 Roosevelt dime large date with D error mint mark in chocolate rusty color.